Okay, so we're recording, set to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here this evening. We're, as you can hear, hopefully you can hear that we're excited to be here with you. And I'd first like to start by thanking the people who introduced me to Manatech. It was just some women at a dinner party, and my decision to trust them enough to review the information, which I was right on the edge, I can tell you, as has been a life-changing one. I've been with this company for 20 years this November. I'd also like to thank the corporate team for making this series possible. We are proud to be here tonight as part of the greater leadership team of Australasia and across the globe. We've put our hand up to make sure our important message can be easily reached in a virtual way right from the comfort of your home. I'd like you just to sit. This may sound a bit corny, but just sit for a moment. Imagine what it would be like to put your heart and soul into the world and have it touch off a movement or a revolution. It's a revolution that inspires people to change their world while at the same time changing the world. The information you'll hear is only a snapshot of a vibrant company, but it has groundbreaking technology and will leave you wanting to learn more. We'll be talking about real people with real stories, and it's truly a revolution on all levels. We won't have time to answer any questions tonight in this format, but make sure you get back to the person who invited you here, and they'll be happy to lead you or help assist you with your questions. Now, it's my pleasure and my privilege to introduce Rhonda Buttery. Her background was mainly in office administration and workplace training. When Rhonda began using the Manatech products 13 years ago, she was working 4 part-time jobs and certainly had no time to take on another job or a business. Through the changes these products made to her health and appearance, people she knew started asking what she was doing and began taking the supplements themselves. The results are really hard to keep to oneself, and a few of her friends also began sharing their discovery, and a business was developing. After some time, her monthly check from Manatech was more than her 3-day-a-week job, which also involved 3 hours a day traveling. By applying more focus to actively share Manatech, within 6 months, she was able to double her monthly check, and 4 years ago, she quit, or it's more than that now, she quit her main job. Rhonda feels Manatech has given her life back, allowing her not to be chained to a regular job, and has been able to maintain her business and her residual income while enjoying more time with friends, family, and travel. She loves helping people improve their wellness, their financial situation, and their lifestyle. Manatech's social entrepreneur program, Mission 5 Million, linking consumers to children at risk of death through malnutrition by simply using the products themselves, is the icing on the cake. Rhonda, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, Sharon, and it is really my pleasure and my delight to be able to share what Manatech has done for me, both in the health area and in the financial area. But before I go any further, I need to thank my dear friend Sue Skinner, who shared the opportunity with me, and our team leader, Karen Dennis, who is an absolute Trojan as far as helping people and helping the team achieve what they want to do. And I hope tonight that I can pass on some of what, give you some idea of what Manatech has done for me and so many other people around the place. And as Sharon said, yeah, I wasn't looking for a business. The business found me because the products were just so awesome that people were saying to me, what are you doing? I want it. Anyway, let's get on to the real deal. So what are you looking for in your life? What are you short on? Are you short on time? Are you short on traveling? Do you feel you want to contribute more? Do you need a bit of security for later on? Or do you just want some choice and freedom? You know, we get locked into this business of working, but there's life out there, and I tell you, it goes by pretty fast. My son is 40 now, or he's actually closer to 41 than 40, and I reminded him just very recently how fast that next 25 years are going to speed by. And just be aware, because if you don't start making some choices now, you're going to be behind the 8 ball with limited choices. And freedom's a big deal for me. Every time I do one of these tests on what's your prime value, freedom comes up trumps every time. and restriction of freedom is something that really causes me a problem. So anyway, let's get into it. Whoops, we're not moving forward. Let's try if we click the button, will it make a difference? Okay, so what are we looking at in the 21st century? And just before I go any further, just think about what's important to you. What is your current lifestyle costing you in opportunity, and where is it limiting you? And open your mind a little bit just to see if some light about possibilities. Century, we're going to talk what a fabulous profession network marketing is. In fact, one of my team describes network marketing as the democratization of wealth. And I think that's beautiful. You know, it really brings all the good stuff to everyday people who think they don't have a chance, but really they do. So who's looking for us? Why choose Manatech? Why? You know, there's all sorts of things out there. Why Manatech? How easy it is to start, what your personal potential is, and we have purpose. And how will you transform your life? It's changed mine. But we're talking about real people and real stories. This isn't theory. This isn't airy-fairy out there stuff. This is real. And I've got two of my associates tonight. I've got a number of associates. A lot of them are busy doing other things. One of them's actually gone on holidays, would you believe? Another one's just doing training calls. So Diana and Sharon are going to help and share their experiences with why this has been wonderful for them. So Sharon, would you like to start and tell us your story?
Certainly. It's my pleasure, Rhonda. So yeah, I was similar to Rhonda. I was introduced to Manatech at a dinner party some 20 years ago for my health. And at that time I had chronic fatigue and I was unable to work and I was on a disability pension. And I have a nursing background and I was very skeptical about hearing about a health breakthrough at a dinner party. But they said to me, listen, Sharon, it's just information. You know, it can't hurt. If it doesn't make sense to you, there's no problem. And I thought, well, I can't say no to that. And so when I listened, I can remember the feeling. I can remember it was like time stood still. I thought, why was I skeptical about this? I really learned a lesson about my lack of open-mindedness in that experience, actually. And it's changed. I often review things where I know I wouldn't have before because of that experience. I went on to fully recover from my health situation within 18 months. And again, like Rhonda, people were noticing, and I was excited because I could feel the difference. Because I was scared, actually, and I had tried everything up until then. So, you know, for me to have these early signs, it was sort of like a stair step, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But within 18 months, it was very clear, and I was, you know, back to better health than I'd had in my whole life, probably. And I started, you know, sharing with people. Anybody that holds still around me, they heard about glyconutrients because it is such an important, and to this day I feel like that. It is just such an important nutrient to know about. And now we've expanded as a company to so many things. So I've gone on to have full-time income and income that supported our family household bottom line. You know, no matter what's happened in the last 20 years, sickness in the family, you know, challenges like anybody listening tonight would have had, birth of children, all kinds of things happen. That's been the constant. I've had this residual income coming in month after month after month for 20 years now. And sometimes because of some of those things have happened in our life, I couldn't work at all at the time. And I know that there isn't anything, the disability pension or sickness pension wouldn't have paid me that much. Neither would have a job continued when it was impossible for me to continue working. So I believe that every single household should have at least a part-time residual income business with a company that they feel in integrity to partner with a technology or product range that they feel they would use anyway, whether they're sharing it or not, and that's what's true for me with Manatech. I agree with Rhonda about our social entrepreneurship program. I couldn't partner with anything that didn't have ethics and values that was a match for me. But I really love the residual income, and I love our wellness technology, and I'm really proud to represent this company. So I recommend that you look past any judgments or, maybe misconceptions that you have and ask questions about that. You can still say no, but take a really strong look tonight, and welcome for being here.
Thank you, Sharon. And Diana, would you like to share your business story, please?
Yes, my pleasure, Rhonda. Thanks for asking me. Yes, hi, everyone. Some of you on the call and some of you don't know that I was originally introduced to Manatech by Sharon, who you've just heard on the call. And, of course, that's how we often hear about what Manatech has to offer through someone who knows and cares about us, and it was exactly the same for me. Sharon's a close friend of nearly 30 years now, and she'd heard about the products, and she thought they might help me with my health. I'd been dealing with a long-term health issue, and long story short, after a 15-year challenge with my health and trying many, many things over those years, the Manatech products worked. And, of course, that got my attention. As it so happened, within the previous 12 months, just moved to regional Queensland. That had been a lifestyle choice for me. I was looking for, wanted to live in more of a slower lifestyle. But it became obvious to me pretty quickly I wasn't going to be able to rely on the local environment for the income and lifestyle that I wanted. I've always been someone who put 100% of who I am into my work. I like to make a difference. Many times I've made significant improvements in the workplaces I'd been involved in, and I'd landed a permanent part-time job on the coast and sorted out their systems, and then the person that I worked for pulled the rug on my job in quite an unethical way. But the other side of that was a defining moment for me. It was at that point I decided that's the last time I'm putting all of who I am, my talents, my skills, into someone else's business. I was going to reserve some of that for me and my future. So Manatech was the obvious choice. I'd already researched the products and the science and was very impressed, besides the results that I'd received. I did a bit of research into the company, the people involved, and was equally impressed. Saw the heart, the purpose, and the experience there. So I jumped in. I did the necessary trainings, and I still do. It's sort of a life journey of ongoing education, which is something else that I love, and often that education's for free. I've learnt so much through my Manatech business. And I built my business to executive director. I was able to reduce my employment to very part-time, and similar to Sharon's story there, the company's now paid me every month for the last 18 years. And I can tell you that is absolutely priceless. You probably know there's times in life where you're unable to work for whatever reason, and with this business, the money kept coming in. And there's been incredible value in having multiple streams of income into my household. And beyond the income, I love making contribution to people's well-being, and also the lifestyle of having my home office, working with a like-minded, positive community, and also, as already mentioned, our social entrepreneur program where we take care of malnourished children around the world. It's nice to put your head on the pillow at night and know you've made a difference in that way as well. So I'm so grateful to Sharon and to Manatech. It's been a gift into my life, Rhonda. So that's my story.
Thanks so much, Diana. And, Sharon commented on my story earlier on. Like Sharon and Diana, I wasn't actually looking for a business. But I saw changes in health with my friend that were astounding. And I was taking supplementation, and I thought, she's doing better than I am. Maybe I should look at this. But my business grew around as a result of the products. And it was really interesting because I had an appointment with a finance planner looking at some estate planning. And he asked me a very serious question. He said, what is your exit plan? 4 jobs, One of them was 3 days a week with the government, which I tell you was hardly exciting, especially as a mature person in administration with a bunch of lawyers who think administration is something that walks in on your shoe. And it was really interesting. And it was a bit of a wake-up call when he said to me, "What is your exit plan?" And I thought, geez, I'm housing my mother, I'm supporting this, supporting that. Gee, I'm going to be doing this till I'm dead. And that really was, death was my exit plan. It was a bit of a wake-up call, and especially when I noticed that Manatech started paying me a check equal to working 3 days at the government. And each one of those days was 3 hours travelling. So, knock, knock, wake up, wake up. And it really didn't take very much at all to double that income. And then I was able to leave that job. And the others, it means that anybody who knows me knows that I travel, I'm here, there, and everywhere. And being untied to regular full-time job is so freeing. It is just so awesome. Choices is what we're all about here. And choice is a big deal. A lot of people don't think they have choice. Make a decision that's going to give you some choice. So what's happening in the world today? We're getting more and more robotics. And between the statistic from about 3 years ago that was by 2020, which is not all that far away, half the jobs that existed in 2015 would just not be available. People are going to university at the moment for careers that won't exist when they finish their study. How deflating is that? I grew up at a time where jobs were in abundance. You didn't even have to worry about having another job before you quitted because there'd be 5 jobs you could have your choice. I'm sorry, that's not the way it is today. And people go into bankruptcy for want of about $300 a month. That figure really startled me, because you think when people go into bankruptcy, they're into debt for megabucks. $300 a month would save a lot of families from going into bankruptcy. And the jobs are changing. Companies can't afford all the add-ons that are required with having employees these days. So they're looking at ways of cutting that back. And that doesn't do much for us, especially in Australia, where we're used to a good lifestyle. We really have a great lifestyle in this country. Our productivity is not necessarily very high, but our rewards have been great. We've got used to that, but it's not necessarily going to carry on that way. And job security, well, that's a myth. If you've got a job, you're not that secure at all. Banks don't always see it that way, but that's the way it is. Half of the employment on the planet today, and this is a little while ago, will be gone by 2030. 2030 is not that far away. Really, the time goes by fast. And if you're going to make a change, if you're going to make a difference and have some sort of security in your later life, you're going to have to do something yourself, because there won't be support there for you. And Robert Kiyosaki says there's 2 choices. You either shrink your dreams or you expand your income, and be open to possibilities. And what we're talking about here tonight is just be open to another possibility, because the road we're going down of employment and secure employment is diminishing day by day. So we need to open our minds and look for other opportunities and other ways of thinking. And you would do yourself a favor by reading some of Robert Kiyosaki's books. He really is an entrepreneur mind, and it really behoves us well to open up our mind a little bit and think about possibilities. So one of the things that he talks about in his book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, is where people derive their income from. So on the left-hand side, we've got employees and self-employed. And employees work for a job, somebody pays them, and self-employed is somebody who owns a job, maybe a small practitioner like a dentist or a doctor, or there's all sorts of other things that you set up as your own business. Sometimes you have to employ people, and I'll tell you, that's not always fun either. But on that side of the quadrant, those two sections of the quadrant, is 90% of the population. And boy, oh boy, they don't make 90% of the money. They make about 10% of the money. And if you've had anything to do with small business and self-employment, it's not always easy. You know, employing staff is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the pits. Nothing I've ever done, nothing I've ever taken on would involve employing staff. That's just more nightmares than I ever want to look at. On the other side of the ledger, we've got business owners, and this is a business, this is bigger business, like McDonald's or Mini Movers or something where you own a system and people work for you. And whether you're there or not, the money keeps coming in. And then when you've made enough money from that, you can invest money, and then your money is working for you. Now, this is where 90% of the wealth is. But look at that. 10% of the people control it. And, you know, a quote's just popped into my mind that's one of my favourites, and it's if you're not the architect of your own life, you're going to be a bit player in somebody else's life. So we just really need to look at, so do you want to have your income in a bucket, or would you like to have it in a pipeline where you turn on the tap and it just keeps on flowing? And that's what we're talking about here, where you set it up, do some work, and then the tap happens and it starts flowing. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes, and it doesn't happen by signing a piece of paper and sitting on your butt doing nothing. It does require that you talk to people or that you do something about it. But once you've got some customers and some business happening, they'll talk to each other. Other people will say, what are you doing? And there's a lot of self-growth just because of the temerity of the product that we have here. So that's your choice. Be a bit player in somebody else's life or design your own. And we're just talking about a different way of distributing products. We're used to going to a shop, buying things. Now, shop owners have huge overheads. If you want to buy a business, you need the Bank of England behind you. You need to have enough money back of you to keep you for about 2 years before you might start making a profit. You need to employ people, usually, pay rents, pay all sorts of different things. It's very expensive. When you get to the end of the presentation here and see how little it costs to get a business like this, and I think sometimes that's why people don't give it as much credence as perhaps they could, because unless it costs megabucks, people don't tend to pay a lot of notice. But with a very low startup, you can be in business straight away with consumable products backed by proprietary technology. That means that our products are patented. Nobody has what we have. And in fact, Manatech is the first network marketing company in the world, probably the only company in the world, that has ever brought to market a whole new class of nutrients that weren't recognized before. They were mentioned in the Bible, but nobody paid a lot of attention or understood really what was on about it. This is groundbreaking. This is just totally amazing. And you get paid what you put into it. And I might say you actually get paid more than you put into it. That the rewards of this sort of business is much greater. It's exponential in comparison to the work you actually put in. And the more you work, the better you can do. But initially, you might be working and think this is a little bit slow. It might take 6 months before you start making very much coming in. But after that, the rewards are exponential and just out of all proportion to the work that you put in. We have flexible schedule. You work from, I get up and I sometimes do half my day's work in my pajamas because if I wake up and I start early, I just sit here. I'm not having to be getting dressed and going out to somebody's office. There's tax advantages. Most of the things in my life I do pre-tax dollars because so many things can have a relationship to my business that I can claim them as deduction. Trips overseas, places I go. Any time I go someplace, if I talk business to somebody, it's a business trip. I work from home, and the social entrepreneurship is just absolutely awesome. We are making a difference in the whole world. And we earn income through customer referrals. You know, you go to the movies, you see something good, you tell people about it. Well, you can get paid for it in this relationship. So we have got huge markets. The NFL, if you're a sports fan, is worth $9.5 billion. The organic produce is 91. Network marketing is worth $167 billion, which is more than the movie industry, the video gaming, and the music industry put together. So, and they're huge. They're really big. So we're talking about big deal here. We're not talking about little penny ante stuff. And at the moment, Manatech is at the middle of three great megatrends. Wellness. People are becoming aware that our health profession, which is actually a sickness management profession, is not doing anything for them except making them sicker and committing them to drugs and drugs and drugs and drugs and drugs that make the drug companies rich, don't help the health, and sometimes I wonder whether the doctors are really aware. There are some who are becoming more aware, but so many of them are just taught to prescribe prescription medicine. And do you know, drugs are tested, sort of, but no drugs are tested in combination. Now, if you know anybody who's taking medication from the doctor, they're not taking one thing. They're taking 6, 8, 10, even more. And there's no testing with different medications operating together. And in fact, my partner, Ron, some of you know Ron, he has had type 1 diabetes for about close to 40 years now. About 35 years ago, he had a quintuple bypass. So he's got some heart issues and he's got some long-term diabetes. Fortunately, he changed his lifestyle after his diagnosis, so he's doing pretty well. Anyway, he goes to the doctor a little while ago, and it was a locum. The doctor was on holiday, so he had a locum. Now, he had a bit of a sniffly nose and some virus that was going around because, of course, he'd had a flu injection, which makes him cook every year. You can't tell some people. So anyway, he goes into the doctor, and as he walks into the door, the locum doctor says to him, "Oh, I know what's wrong with you, and I know what you need." And he writes out 3 scripts for steroid drugs and a puffer. And I make Ron get the chemist notification these days. So when he gets a new drug, he's got to come home with the information sheet. Now, what do you think was on the information sheet for all these products? Contraindication, diabetes, heart problem, blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And he was just given 4 of these. Yeah, ha, Gary, I wasn't laughing. But, you know, that's how it is. And he hadn't looked at his record. He hadn't looked at anything else. Just, oh, here we go, puff off the script. That could have killed him. And there was a review on Four Corners recently, or one of the other current affairs shows, about how many people die through medical intervention. And we know that the 4th highest cause of death in America and Australia is properly prescribed, properly administered prescription medication administered in hospital. That doesn't even include the mistakes. This is the intention. This is doing it the right way. Sheesh. Who wants to go down that path? Anyway, back to where I was. Another of the intervening circles is business. People don't want to do what us baby boomers and before have done, work 40 years of your life, 40 hours a week, to retire on 40% of your income with maybe a gold watch. I don't think they give out gold watches anymore. it's just not worth it. You know, people are saying, hey, I want some life in my life. I don't just want to work till I die. And the social entrepreneurship. People want to make a difference. These are big circles, and Manatech intersects with all of them perfectly. So we have all of that. Can't keep up with the comments, but every now and again I catch a glimpse. The millennials are a bit smarter than us oldies. They're not prepared to work all those times. They want more freedom. They want unlimited income, and they want control of their lives while they're walking around with a mobile phone stuck to their face. So many families have two parents working. You know, it's a real luxury these days to have somebody at home actually raising the children. Don't get me on that hobby horse, because I think that's the most important job in our society, and so many people just discount it and don't do it. You know, parents have to parent because the next generation is the future, and we need to feed that. Jobs are decreasing. I'm glad I don't have to pay childcare costs. And most families are financially stressed. The flexibility is a bit of a wish, but it's not always possible. So what do you do? What do you do? Well, we got an answer. So this is me. This is our generation. You know, the grey hair, dyed blonde, you know. We're still fit and energetic, but it's getting on, and we're perhaps not quite as energetic as we used to be, but thank God for the products, because we've got more energy than we would otherwise. Half of all boomers, half of all people, now that's people born between 1946 and 1964, and I'm a bit on the wrong side of halfway of that, but we want business that's going to nourish us, not business that's going to deplete us. You know, one of my little part-time jobs I kept because I just love it, and I've been there 20 years, and they don't mind if I come and go and travel here and there as long as the page is done in advance. But, you know, that guy who has that business, he works harder. He works twice as hard as anybody who works for him. He doesn't always take home a pay packet. It's really buying yourself a job and not even guaranteeing that you're going to get paid. And the average 50-year-old is estimated having less than $50,000 in retirement savings. Do you know how much you get from $50,000 in retirement savings? Not much. You try and live on it. Then what are we paying now? You're lucky if you can get 2% interest. So we're talking about a revolution. Oh, I think I'm going a bit slow here. It's 8:32 and I'm only about a quarter of the way through. Move it up, Rhonda. People want, and I think everybody on the call is here because they want something different to what they've got now. We want lifestyle, freedom, and purpose. And we want the sickness management system we've got is just destined to failure. We see what's happening in America where people just can't afford. They lose their homes because they can't afford health care. And I tell you, we're not that far behind. We're heading down the same slippery slope. Our health care just manages sickness. It does not give us health. We need to take some responsibility for our health. And boy, oh boy, we can get a fabulous income with this as well, just by sharing our experiences. And here we have the solution. We've got some top drawer world-class health professional on our Global Scientific Advisory Board, suggesting products, looking at research. We met these people at Manifest this year just gone and last year also, and tell you what, they're a real inspiration. Our company has 37 studies that are done with humans, with real people, using their products. Never mind laboratory animals. This is actual people who can tell you what's happening, and my experience is that people can see what's happening around you. 17 million servings in 2015 were donated to children at risk of death through malnutrition. They weren't all starving. They had food, but they weren't getting nourishment. And every time you order your product, a child is fed nourished for a month. That's huge. And 17 million servings have been given. There's more than 200 people in our business who have earned more than $1 million through Manatech. It's really possible. It's just wonderful. This is one of my favorite slides. It might look like a bit of gobbledygook to the uninitiated, but just bear with me for a minute. What you've got on the bottom of the top corner is the surface of a cell of your body, and it's got these little tree things, and that's how your body talks to itself. And there's receptors there for nutrients to fit on so your body can talk. Now, if you understand military maneuvers, you've got a problem. So the head command says, oh, we've got a problem. Go send some soldiers and fix this problem. Now, communication has to get all the way backwards and forwards for it to work. One of the problems we have in our systems today is that, yes, the soldiers go off to fight the problems in your body, but the message doesn't get through that, hey, the problem's over now, stop fighting. And if that message doesn't get through, your soldiers in your system keep fighting and they end up attacking yourself. And we have got so many autoimmune diseases in our society now. This was something that's in the last 50 years that's developed, where bodies are attacking bodies. Your body knows what to do, but it needs the ingredients to do it. It needs glyconutrients to talk, and our food is so depleted. So this is the basis. The glyconutrition is the basis of our product. Nobody else has these compound products because they're patented, and nobody else can sell them in combination. So real food technologies, nutritional glycan, and food-sourced products. I didn't understand till quite recently that most of our nutrients that we buy at the healthcare store and at the pharmacy, and even practitioner medication, practitioner nutrients, most of them are largely petrochemicals. That's what they're giving us to help ourselves. And in fact, most of those are counterproductive. They actually do more harm than good. And I saw a slide recently of what a synthetic magnesium model looked like, and it was like one of those jigsaw pieces, like a kid's playground where it's all square and joined together. And then I saw a picture of what magnesium molecule looks like when it's through food. It was totally different. And it's the differences that make the difference. And I know for a fact that calcium supplements are mostly ground up limestone. And if you use those, your body can absorb about 4% of it, and the rest of it just coagulates in your joints and ends up making you creaky and groany, and because your body can't process it. So it's really important that we have good nutrition and that our body cells can talk to each other. So this is a business presentation, but the business only works because we've got the best in products. We have over 100 patents in major global markets and multiple scientific studies. We do the same sort of studies that they need to do for medicines. We do double-blind placebo studies with real people. So we don't have to do that. Nutrition companies don't have to do that, but we do. We have our stuff assayed by third-party independent companies. We know we have the best. We have, and our products are guaranteed by a 90-day money-back guarantee. You know, how many places do that? And if you buy products from us, the person who sells it to you is going to ring up and make sure that you know what you're doing, that you're getting the results, and give you all sorts of guidance about getting the results that you need. These are the markets that we're into: lean body, fitness, integrative health, skin health. They're huge. Look at those dollars. That's what we're dealing with, and we have the best in the world. So what does the business offer you? And it really does. For me, Manatech is the business that has everything. And I remember hearing one of our leaders, one of our Australian Platinum Presidential, saying, you know, what do you want? We got that. What do you want? We got that. You want health? We got that. You want income? We got that. You want social entrepreneurship? We got that. You want the best products on the market? We've got that. We have it all. Doesn't matter what you're looking for. Manatech ticks the boxes. Low startup, ridiculously low startup cost. You wouldn't believe it. Consumable products backed by technology. Leveraged long-term income. As Diana said, the income keeps coming. Whether I'm cruising the canals in Venice, whether I'm at Manifest in America, whether I'm looking at properties in New Zealand, my check is coming in. Yes, I did some work in the first place. A lot of it found me. I didn't have to find it. A lot of it found me. But the income comes in. Every month my check is there, like clockwork. And it really does allow ordinary people to have a powerful business, turning the 40-year plan into a 4-year plan. Excuse me, I need to cough. Oh, pardon me. Maybe a glass of water would help. Maybe I've been talking too much. This company's been around since 1994. Operates in 25 countries. Oh, it's more than that now. It was 25 when we did the slide. Over 100 patents in major global markets, and has been top company. We invest tens of millions in research. We have our own lab. We have a science lab that people want to come and study in because it's so well equipped. And it's a publicly traded company. So all our details are on public display. It's not a private company. Nothing's hiding. And on the NASDAQ, the code is MTEX. So when you get started, you purchase a welcoming kit, which usually includes some product. If you don't understand the product, you're really not that serious about it. Training and mentoring. We have the best resources in training. In fact, somebody said to me many years ago, if network marketing gives you nothing else, it gives you the best personal development training. We have resource guides and tools, and we have online resources, state-of-the-art in internet technology, apps for the phone. Somebody says, oh, what's this? I can send them a video through my phone. I just take it out, dial in the number, boop, and they've got this world-class, top professional presentation to have a look at. We've got people who are really excited. Our CEO, Al Bala, has had over 20 years experience in the network marketing business, and he has really zoomed the business. He is so excited and so exciting. And we've got Dr. Steve Nugent. He is just absolutely awesome. He is an educator of wellness professionals, healthcare professionals, and he is so devoted to wellness. He's written a book called How to Survive on the Toxic Planet. He's written a few books, actually, but he's just an awesome speaker. And he's coming to Australia soon, so watch this space, and whoever invited you tonight, make sure they tell you about when he's going to be here in Australia. He is absolutely, totally worth listening to every time you get the opportunity. And I think Sharon's having him on the call in a couple of weeks as well, so pay attention. So how do you get started? Easy. Open an account with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Set up your monthly order so that you're getting your products every month, and then connect with people who want to improve their well-being, expand their income, or be part of a greater mission. Now, you don't have to go far. Every time you talk to somebody, in about 3 sentences, they're going to tell you, oh, they've got problems with this, I've got problems with my back, I've got problems with my head, oh, I've got no energy. Or they're going to say, oh, money's so tight, or I don't know what I want to do now. You know, we've got this. We've got an answer. So listen to what people say, and we've got an answer. And here's the challenge. Our pay plan is changing the day after tomorrow. And I've got to say, I've looked at it, but I'm not up to speed. I don't know that I ever totally understood our existing plan already yet. But it looks much simpler here. And if you want to have your products paid for, all you have to do is register and share the industry. Yes, thanks, Irene. All you have to do is refer people. You don't even have to look after them. The person who's introduced you is prepared to look after them, and you can start getting bonuses already that's going to pay for your product. That's number one step. And every time any one of those people orders 100 points worth of product, a child is going to be nourished. You don't pay for that. It just is automatic. It happens. So the next step is that you develop a qualified team. That means 5 people who are ordering 100 points worth of product, which is about between $125, $150 a month. And you can receive from that $475 a month. Now, that's not inconsiderable. And, $400 a month can allow a parent to stay home and raise a child rather than go to work and pay more than that in childcare. There's so much that can happen just from sharing the wellness opportunity with people, the opportunity for people to improve their own lives. And as we move on, by helping others, by sharing with others, by helping them and teaching them what you've learned, and as Zig Ziglar says, you can get everything in life that you want as long as you just help enough people get what they want. And that really works. So there's multiple ways of advancing, and it's just to do with business growth. So as you share the opportunity with other people and they see the light and decide to share, your business is growing, and you don't have to do it all yourself. It's a matter of helping people, introducing people, showing them what to do, and then showing them how to help others. And it can grow like Topsy. And now we've got many more steps in our plan. So it's not such a great step from earning a little to earning more. There's steps along the way so that your income is going to be growing much more easily than it has been in the past. And those with large income goals can get excited too. These are the sort of, it doesn't show you the incomes, but the incomes are really quite considerable, and they're permanent. They keep coming. So whether you're here, there, or everywhere, whether you're taking a month off, whether you're traveling, by talking to people and developing a business, income is going to be coming and growing. So what do you want? What's going to make a life better for you? Do you want to pay some bills? Do you want to reduce your mortgage? What about some world travel? Or just giving back to society, giving back to the world? Spending time with your family, freedom, travel, options and choice. That's what it's about for me. It's options and choice. And that's a big deal for me. I don't fit with the regular 9-to-5 grind. It just doesn't suit me. But I have so many other choices now. All of these choices. Pay the bills, reduce the mortgage, new clothes, travel, watch my Facebook page. That does it for me. And every time you order your product, we're giving back to the world in nourishing these children who are at risk of death, a life of poverty and impoverishment. Kids who can't go to school because their brains have stopped developing and they just don't understand. And we've got examples of this. We see this. We know these children. Some of us have been to these places. We don't just ship stuff to go sit on a dock somewhere. We only work with organizations who are already feeding children. So the infrastructure is there. It's monitored. We keep going. We keep watching what's happening. So it's not wasted money. It's not stuff sitting someplace that's not getting to where it's needed. It's not available to be picked up by political prima donnas who want to just use for their own advantage. And here we've got Aura, who was really in a bad state. This little girl's from Guatemala. And after a very short time, she was healthier. She was feeling good. She was able to go back to school. She was able to learn. And by nourishing these children so that their bodies and their brains develop, they then have more choices. they can break out of this cycle of poverty because they've got some thinking process. These are the children, these are the leaders, the future leaders of the world. You know, we really don't want them to be brain damaged and uneducated. It helps if they have a bit of understanding and if their brains work properly, that this is what we're doing. Change your life. Change the world. This dream is real and achievable. And we're changing the world, person by person, person by person. So whatever your hot buttons are, whether you want time, travel, freedom, purpose, we've got an answer for you. And as Sharon said, we really don't have the opportunity to answer individual questions on this webinar. So please get back to the person who asked you to join the webinar tonight. Ask them how you can get started, how you can change your life. You've seen the information, some of the information. There's lots more information. But don't get paralyzed by information. This happens by action, not by wanting more and more and more and more information. See the dream, grasp the dream, talk to the person who introduced you, and change your life and change the world. I'm sorry, I think I've run over time. I've been a bit of a motor mouth tonight, but I hope
thoroughly enjoyed it, Rhonda. Thank you so much. That was such an exceptional presentation. We're all blessed by your experience and your passion. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and giving us some of your valuable time tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll be talking fat loss. And stay tuned to your emails or Facebook or wherever you'd like. And make sure you bring your friends. Our fat loss technology is amazing and so healthy and so unique compared to anything else on the market. So thank you for being here. Remember to get back to the people who invited you tonight. Give it a serious review. Matter of fact, don't review anymore. Just get started. You don't have to be frightened. There's no secrets around the corner. Thanks for being here, everybody. Good night.